We have a massive skill gap in India. We hear it everywhere. We hear it at policy summits, the conferences, the seminars, the annual reports, and most often, every time a hiring manager rejects a fresh candidate or a fresh graduate coming from college or university, it has become a standard corporate mantra. It paints the industry as a victim, a frustrated, helpless consumer of a broken educational system. But I am here to argue in this podcast that this narrative is at best a myth. The industry isn't a victim, it is a passive architect. For too long, the industry has sat on the sidelines as advisors, while the very pipeline they depend on is crumbling at astonishing speed. By refusing to own the talent creation process, the industry has actively contributed, in my view, to the gap that it complains about 24 by 7. It is time we stop asking for better graduates and start building them. Let's look at the reality. How often does industry participation in our vocational system go beyond box ticking? Look at corporate leaders sitting on um, sector skills councils, university boards, committees. In 9 out of 10 cases, their involvement is limited to attending a bi weekly or a quarterly meeting, reviewing an outdated curricula, and offering generic feedback. They are providing the what, the requirements, but they are refusing to provide the how, the investment, the tools, and more importantly, the mentorship. Think back to the Indian IT boom of the late 90s and 2000s. Companies didn't just sit around and complain about the lack of software engineers. They built massive internal training campuses. They invested in the infrastructure of training because they knew the system couldn't scale at their pace. Today, we have lost the skin in the game, if you will. We treat skilling as someone else's problem, and when you refuse to help calibrate the machine that processes your future workforce, you have no right to complain about the quality of the raw material. The passivity has created a disaster, the what I call the certification factory model, because industry leaders treat skilling as some kind of CSR obligation, corporate social responsibility obligation, or a marketing exercise rather than a supply chain necessity. We are incentivizing the wrong things. Vocational institutes are now incentivized to maximize enrollment numbers, not career outcomes. Since industry players aren't co investing in equipment, students are learning on obsolete hardware, incompetent, ill trained teachers. The result, we have millions of certified candidates who are functionally unemployable. And then the industry spends even more money on bridge programs to retrain them. It is an expensive, inefficient loop that only survives because we have accepted it as the cost of doing business. So, the question uppermost in my mind is, how do we fix this? We have to move away from advisory to ownership. And for that, there are three concrete ways by which we can bridge the gap today. Firstly, stop donating your old computers to colleges. That's not help. That's trash disposal at best. Instead, Form industry academia clusters. Own the project yourself. Place your active working machinery in local polytechnics. Let students learn on the equipment they will actually operate. You get a pipeline of day one ready talent, they get a future. And this is the philosophy behind the PM Setu program, that you own everything that the industry, that the skill the youth require. Secondly, advisory is a document review. Co-authoring is an operational mandate. Industry has to co-author the whole project. We need to move away from 3 year static degree models. Let's build a modular system where industry leaders design and update modules every 6 months. Keep the curriculum live, not historical. Third, the stop relying on mass hiring via generic aptitude tests. Implement hire, train, deploy models where your own employees become the trainers for the final semester of a vocational course. Use your experts to teach the craft. This upskills your own leadership while ensuring that the new hires are calibrated to your company's workflow. The skill gap isn't just a failure of the educational system, it is a failure of active industry engagement. If we want the Indian workforce to be world class, we must stop being passive advisors and start being what I call custodians of talent. The next time you find yourself lamenting on the lack of skills in a candidate, ask yourself, what did I do to help build them? Stop hiring for potential. Stop investing in the production, or start investing in the production of competence. Thank you.